Hi and welcome to the iPhone 6 videos. In this video I wanted to talk about the App Store and also talk a little bit about installing apps and giving you a few tips. So before we can go ahead and install any apps, you need to have an Apple ID. Now you can use this Apple ID for both iTunes login and the App Store because they're both Apple products, and you can create your Apple ID beforehand by going into settings, and then if you scroll down you can go to iTunes and App Store. And if you've already got an account, you can just sign in here, or you can select create a new Apple ID. You don't have to do it from here. You can do it directly from the App Store when you're about to download. So if we just jump across and go to our App Store, from here you can browse for any of the apps that you would like. Now there are a couple of ways that you can do this. You can scroll across here so you can see you've got best new games, best new apps, and you've got a number of different bars that you can scroll with as you go further down. Going back to the top, you can select categories, and then you can choose from any of these categories. So we may like, for example, travel apps. So this will give us all the apps that are related to travel, and we can just scroll across. We can select the little see all section here, which will lay everything out for us, and we can scroll down and then we can choose between featured, release date, or name. So it will sort it alphabetically for us. You also have some tabs down the bottom. So currently we're on featured. Then you've got top charts. And what happens here is the App Store looks at all the most popular apps and lists them for you. So we've got here the most popular paid apps. You can choose free, and then you can choose top grossing. You've also got the Explore tab down here, which is just another way to find different apps. Then you can search. So if there's a particular app that you're looking for, you would just type it in here like so, and you'll see suggestions pop up, and then you can just select one of the apps and you'll go directly to it. From here, if you need to get more information about the app, you can see a couple of screenshots that are from within the app. You can just tap on one of those and we go into a more detailed view, and we can swipe across and see a few more screenshots. We can look at reviews. So this is what other people have said about the app, and then you've got related, where Apple tries to categorize apps together that are very similar to this app or along the same theme. If you go back to the details area, you can also scroll down and see what's new about the app. So if you want to get a bit more information before you update the app, you'll find it here. You've got a bit of a description and some more detailed information here. It's probably going to put most people to sleep, so you don't need to worry about that sort of stuff. You've got in-app purchases here. We can go in here and see what and if any in-app purchases exist within this app, which is particularly handy when you're installing games for children. Now if we back out of here and go back to this screen, you'll notice that there's a couple of icons in the top right. So the first one here is the one with the square and the arrow pointing out of it, and that allows us to share or forward. So we can share the contents of what we're seeing in the App Store via message, email, Twitter, or Facebook. We can also gift this app or copy a link to this app. You can also press more on both of these rows, which just gives you the ability to turn certain features on and off. The icon in the top right, if we press that, brings us to our wish list. Now our wish list is an area within the App Store that we can store any apps that we would like to purchase in the future, so we don't forget them or we don't have to go looking for them next time. And to add an app to the wish list, all we need to do is press this little box, and you'll notice that there's no option here to add anything to your wish list, and that's because this app is a free app. If we go across to a different app like this one, you'll see that there's a price on it. If we press the same little box, you'll see that we can now add this app to our wish list. You've also got updates. So this is where you will update any apps that you've already installed, either free or purchased. As new versions of the apps that you've installed come out, you will be prompted for updates. So you'll see a little number on this App Store here, and that number represents the updates that are available. You don't have to update. However, there may be new features that are available to you, so that choice is really up to you. If we go back to our app and then choose to install, you'll either have a price up here in the free box, or you will see free. So if we just tap that and then tap install, it will go away and try and download this app. You need to have an internet connection, so you either are using your phone plan or you have a Wi-Fi connection. And you can see here, I don't have my Apple ID connected, so I've either got the opportunity to enter my existing Apple ID or create a new one. So for the purpose of this exercise, we'll go ahead and select Create New. We select the region that we're in, select Next, Agree, and then you enter in any details. So for here, you will need to enter an email address. So this obviously needs to be a valid email address, so you could use your Gmail address if you have one, or any other email address. Enter your password details, and then if we scroll down, you've got security info, so you get to choose some security questions. Now with these questions, I'd advise you to try and find one that is relevant to you. And if you do get in trouble with the iTunes account, you will want something that really represents a true situation in your life, because it's going to be easy to remember the answer instead of a made up answer. So we'll pick the top one, and then you can just type in the answer. Then if you scroll down, you've got optional rescue email. So whilst it is optional, it is handy to put in the email of a relative or your partner in case you do run into problems with your iTunes account and your email address is unavailable. Apple can send information on how to log in to that backup account. You've got your date of birth details, and then you've got some subscription settings here. I always turn these off, and then that's it, and you would select Done, and then it will go away and create that account for you. Once the app is installed, you can just select Open. Now one thing to be aware of is in-app purchases. This applies particularly for games, and especially for children's games. What they like to do is add in-app purchases. So as people play the game, they get to a certain level and then they need to make a purchase to get additional levels of that game. There have been cases where children who have had access to the iTunes account have managed to create quite a substantial bill for their parents. So there are ways that we can control this behavior through our settings. If we go into Settings and then go down to General, then if you scroll down a little bit, you will see restrictions. So if we go in there, you will need to enable restrictions. So if we select that, you will need to set a passcode. You need to do it twice to make sure that you don't get it incorrect. And then if we scroll down, you'll see a number of settings for installing apps, deleting apps, and in-app purchases. So we can control these features if we've got children that are using our phone. So that's quite a handy feature to prevent any in-app purchases or accidental deletion of any of your apps. One other piece of information that might be useful is knowing that all the apps that you install from the App Store are approved by Apple. So before a developer can put an app in the App Store, it needs to go through Apple's approval process. They look at the app and make sure that there's no malicious code in there, or there's no viruses or anything in the app that Apple would view as inappropriate. So that pretty much covers everything I wanted to talk about with regards to the App Store, installing apps, and some information regarding in-app purchases.